Facebook now. I am Megan with Life Force Wellness, and I'm joined today with Jennifer Way. Jennifer, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Megan.
Yeah, so you're a neck and back pain relief coach. How does one become a neck and back pain relief coach? How did you get into this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my history is basically I had my own neck and back pain pretty early on in life. So with the neck pain, I had a surfing injury actually that left me with like chronic neck pain and headaches throughout my 20s. And I kind of ignored it for a few years and it let it kind of get a little bit too rooted in my body. And then I started trying to solve it, right? I tried all the different things that probably most people with neck pain have tried: chiropractors, massage, physical therapy, all of the things. And I just wasn't finding long-term relief. So I went to massage school. I started my own massage practice and really specialized in neck work because I was so obsessed with trying to solve that really kind of intricate issue that is neck pain. And basically, I kind of realized that a lot of things were just addressing things from like a short-term relief standpoint. And I wanted to bring people and myself long-term relief. So I started combining kind of all of my methods that I was using that was giving me relief and brought all of them in together and created these programs that I teach other people how to do things in their own home, with lots of movements, some personal training, self-massage, mindset, and things like that actually address like the roots of the problem and give you long-term relief rather than just, treating the symptoms.
Yeah, and I love that. And you and I have talked a little bit that you work with kind of a wide range of clients, that you have your individual personal coaching clients, but you've also worked for organizations as well and helping them with their employees. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. When I was doing massage, I used to go into office places and basically set things up and have everybody come and get a short massage from me. And what I was seeing is a lot of office workers, especially, tend to, carry a lot of tension in their upper back and in their neck and having headaches, just due to, the setup of their workspace, as well as like a really high stress environment and not a lot of time to go and move around and like relax themselves and release that.
That's awesome. And it's so funny because I'm coming off of the Pittsburgh Human Resource Association conference. And with that conference, I gave a whole speech on David Rock's SCARF model. And that's your main social stress triggers and things in the office environment that might be causing some of those stressors. And to your point, one of the things I talk about is how social stress can cause very real physical pain in the
Oh
body.
yeah.
And I think that's a connection that a lot of people miss.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that I think people tend to look at pain as just a physical thing. What muscle isn't relaxed right now, or what am I doing wrong physically? But a lot. I think the mindset is starting to change overall, but really the missing link is like your mindset and the stress in our lives. And let's face it, like stress is getting to be more and more of an issue for more and more people. So it's a real issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the pandemic really kind of aggravated this. So I know for me personally, I get asked all the time by employers like, hey, we know our employees are burned out. We know they're stressed out. Can you come in and do something? And it's like, okay, well, I can teach them breathing exercises. I
Mhm.
can bring in a specialist like you and we can do some of the massage therapies and the stretches. And that does help the pain. But what are we doing at the core? And I think like really where you and I are really, I think, nailing it, especially with what you're doing with the mindset work too, is that if their mind's not right, I can massage this muscle all day, but it's still going to give me that chronic pain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, especially with neck and back pain, I feel like they tend to be such a kind of multi-layered issue. And if you're only addressing it from one angle, you're going to be missing all of the other things that are contributing to the pain. So what's great about what you and I do, kind of going into like a workplace and finding, all of those issues that are causing the stress and causing the pain, it's really going to give people more relief because it's not only addressing the muscles and the mindset and what they can be doing on their own, but then you go ahead and go into actually the culture of the workplace itself and finding, what's actually causing that stress and how can we reduce that as well. So, I mean, really just kind of attacking it from all angles is really the best way.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, it's not an overnight process. I feel like a lot of people are like, we need something and we need it now. Help our employees so they're not burned out, help them manage the stress, get rid of this pain instantly. And it's like, well, it's a process. I mean, we're talking for what I do, it's a cultural change. And this is,
Yeah.
like you said, multi-layer. It's going to take time to work through all the issues and get everyone on the same board. How long does your program typically take when you work with your clients? I mean, how long are they typically in one of these programs to really find that relief?
Yeah, such a good point because, everybody wants a quick fix, of course, but for most things that doesn't really exist. And that's kind of the problem because people are chasing that quick fix. And that's why people get stuck on these loops of like going to the chiropractor, going to the massage therapist, and just getting that quick relief without it being something that lasts for a while. So yeah, I really try to educate my clients that this is going to be, it's going to take a little while. And not only that, but like beyond my programs, it also has to be maintained. So you have to be doing maintenance to make sure that you're keeping yourself out of pain. But typically, I have two different programs. I have a neck pain program and a back pain program. The neck pain, I can usually wrap people up in 8 weeks with a lot for the long-term relief. Like they get the full package and they have all of the tools that they're going to need to get out of pain and also stay that way. But that's more for people who have real chronic pain and something that's been going on for a long time. I also work with people in smaller settings if they maybe don't have quite as long term of pain, but they're noticing that they're starting to have, a stiff neck or they're starting to get headaches at work. I have a 2-week program that I do with people that's actually super effective to just start bringing them some relief. And then when it comes to the back pain, the low back is a little bit more of a deeper issue. So my full like long-term transformation actually is a 6-month process. So it's not to say that they're not going to find relief much sooner than 6 months, but to get to the very end result where they're like really good to go and they're independent from pain and they're able to just take that forward and take care of it by themselves, that takes about 6 months to get to the end result.
No, and I think that's great because I know people that have been hooked on massage therapists and chiropractors, I mean, for years, that they
Oh,
have
yeah.
just a regular standing appointment. And I feel like some of these clients, especially like what you were saying with the low back pain, it is a little more complex.
Yeah.
They've almost resigned themselves to like, oh, I'm just at a certain age now, or I have a certain injury and this is just going to be life for me now.
Yeah, that's so true. I saw that a lot when I was only doing massage therapy. I had my regular clients who I had people come in twice a week, once a week, once a month. They had their long-standing appointments, just like you said. And it becomes like a dependency, like when I went on maternity leave, people were kind of freaking out and I felt terrible. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to help these people get out of pain on a regular basis. And what I didn't like about that is I didn't like leaving people feeling dependent. I wanted to really actually solve their problems. And so that was kind of one of my reasons for developing these programs, is to really teach people that they can actually learn what to do at home if they're willing to put in the work, and find so much more relief than just that, dependent kind of loop on appointments and things like that.
So how much time does somebody need to devote each day? Like, do you have like 30 minutes? I have to be doing these specific exercises or stretches, or like, what kind of time commitment does somebody need to go into one of your programs?
Yeah, that's always like the first question I get from people because everybody's so busy, and it's like trying to find time to add one more thing in is often really overwhelming and then just adds to the stress, right? So what I've done is I've made my programs really, really time efficient and concise. So I always tell people if they can fit in 30 minutes a day, but the thing is, it doesn't even have to be 30 minutes in one chunk. So that's a big thing for people is 30 minutes in one chunk can be really overwhelming, to be honest. So what I do is I can chunk mine down into like 10-minute segments. So I tell people if you can just, take 3 breaks during your day and they're 10 minutes long, even little movement breaks that are 5 minutes long, and be doing the exercises that I teach that are really efficient. So they're getting right to like what you need to be doing rather than wasting your time just mindlessly stretching and, not really taking care of the actual issue, but like, the steps to take, then it can be super effective for people. And what I've found is it's almost more effective when people do those little breaks during the day rather than just, okay, I'm going to do my 30-minute practice in the morning and then forget about my body for the rest of the day. That's not very effective. It's much better to like do those little breaks throughout the day so that you're reminding your brain to check back in with your body, check your posture, check what muscles you're using during your movements. And it's just so much better to kind of enforce those habits in yourself if you make that time throughout your day rather than just like, okay, check that off the list and then I'm done for the day,
Yeah. So where should somebody like really get started? Like if like me, myself, I think you caught me on one of our calls that I was like doing like a little self-correct because I have like my own neck issues. Years of competitive boxing have taken their toll on a lot of the ligaments. And so I am one of those people that like, I have like a standing appointment with a chiropractor and I am really interested in checking out your program, not just for some of my clients, but even for me personally. What advice would you give someone like me where it's like, okay, I clearly need help. Where can I start? Like, where should I really be focusing my energy right now to get me started?
Yeah, great question. So we'll just talk about the neck for now, since that's what you asked me about, because the two are a little bit different in their approach. But for neck pain, it's really important to just start at the very foundations. People always want to like Google, okay, what can I do to help my neck and what stretch is going to help me and just get that quick fix. But really, taking it down to the very base level, what I always start people with is basically encouraging yourself to be in what I call a neutral spine position. And so what that means is assessing your space. So looking around at like your workspace and also what you're doing throughout the day. So let's say you use your phone all the time throughout the day. Most of us do, right? You want to bring it up so that it's at eye level so that you're not, lifting your neck up and cranking your neck or slumping your shoulders forward. You want to set yourself up for success there. So I have a number of suggestions for people of like different props you can use for your screens to make sure that just your default setting is going to help you keep yourself in a really nice posture. And then it's just practicing throughout the day to make sure that you are getting yourself in a neutral spine position, because all of us end up having this default setting of like slumping forward and like looking up at our screen when we're focused. We all do it. I catch myself doing it all the time. And so it's a matter of like catching yourself and reminding yourself until it starts to become more of your default setting. So I can show you really quick just what that neutral spine position is. It's super simple to do. You just want to like very relaxed, pull your shoulders back, not in a like really aggressive way or anything like that, just a nice relaxed pulling your shoulders back and opening your chest. And just take a deep breath in and out just to kind of relax your shoulders. And then you want to kind of check your chin in 2 different ways. You want to make sure that you pull your chin back so that your ears are basically in line with your shoulders, because we have a tendency to have our chin coming forward here, and that's going to put a lot of stress on the neck back here. So pulling your chin back, kind of lining your ears up with your shoulders. And then you want to check your chin to make sure that it's parallel with the floor. So it's really common that we have our chin lifted up when we're focused on something. So bringing that chin down so it's nice and level, and then making sure that your shoulders are dropped away from your ears and relaxed. And that's it. That's your neutral spine position. It's super simple. But it's really, really important to do because we all have kind of learned these really bad postures throughout our life, usually starting in like our teen years is what I've heard from most people.
So, and I am going to like be the devil's advocate here because I know kind of the answer already. but like the importance of laying this foundation, because I know a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, I need to sit this way. I've heard it all before. How is this really going to help my neck and back pain? And they kind of want to just jump straight to the stretches or traction or something crazy. Like, what
Yeah.
have you found? What has been your experience with the clients that are like, yeah, I'm gonna skip that part. Get me to the good stuff.
Yep, exactly. It's so human nature, right? You're like, I don't need to do that. That's super basic. I just want to get to the thing that's going to actually solve my neck pain. So I just had this exact experience actually in my 2 week group coaching program that I just did for neck pain. The first week of it is real simple stuff and very like foundational, like we just talked about. And it's assessing your space and buying things that you need to bring your screen up, and really setting that awareness in your body and practicing that neutral spine. So I had someone in my program who was sick for the first week of the program, and so in the second week she wanted to, jump back in and like not miss out on everything. She's also actually a personal trainer, and she's very she's very aware of her body. She's aware of what to do, and she's I find that active people tend to want to skip the small steps because they're like, I got that, I just want to like move on to the good stuff. So she skipped the whole first week, and she dove right into like these rolling exercises that I had them do and some stretching. And she didn't really properly warm up for the stretches because they seem very basic. These are not like vigorous workouts. And what ended up happening is she actually kind of tweaked her neck doing that. And so she reached out to me and said, man, my neck is really hurting. And I asked her, well, did you start with the first steps? Did you start there? Have you been doing your neutral spine and the assessing your space? And she's like, no, I just moved into, week 2. And so I told her, yeah, it's super important. You got to get those foundations set, even if you are super active, even if you know your body very well, even if you've heard it all before, which most of us have. It's not new information. It's just information that no one is actually taking the time to make it a practice and make it a habit in their day. So yeah, it's very important to start with those smaller steps.
Yeah, I think it's so important as coaches. We're also kind of that accountability voice of like
Yeah.
calling them out and being like, you got to start with the foundations. And like, I'm the same way, personal trainer. I'm used to the hardcore workouts. I've
Yeah.
never been a
Boxing.
runner though.
Hmm.
And I got into running, and one of my friends was a running coach, and she's like, well, you got to start with the posture, and you got to make sure, because I was swinging my arms across the body, and then I would complain about like shoulder pain.
Mm.
And that's when it became very apparent to me, talking to her, and she gave me some tips and tricks for like realigning my posture, running with my palms up. And that way I wasn't swinging across my body. And like the change in my pace, my form, how I felt overall was so dramatic. But, I understand that mentality of like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to sit up straight, shoulders back, chin up. Don't like, we hear,
Yeah.
don't slouch. Like my grandmother, I like, she
Yeah.
rings in my head, stop slouching. But
Yep.
it's so vitally important. I think it's great that you work that in the program, and you're good at calling out your clients and being like, hey, you have to start here.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's really interesting, the different personalities, because I work with, a huge range of ages and ability levels and activity levels. So it's always really interesting to me, like working with each person on where they're at. So all my programs are, for the most part, pre-recorded video training. But then the coaching is, like you said, that's the key, right? Because that's where we personalize it and we find out what's really going on. What have you actually been doing, and how's that been landing in your body? And what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where, because people come who have a really hard time prioritizing their health and finding time for that in their day. And then there's the people who, are fitness fanatics, and if they have the opposite problem, I have to slow them down and remind them to, work on the breath work on soothing, work on relaxing. So it's always interesting, the different, personalities.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a couple different things, and I'm curious what's all included in your package, because you've mentioned like stretching, you've mentioned posture work, and now you brought up like breath work. So what all kind of does your program encompass?
Yeah, so I try to have it be, like I said, that real all around comprehensive approach, because I feel like if you miss one thing when it comes to neck or back pain, you're not going to nail it. You're not going to really find that relief. So yeah, I do lots of stretching. Also, you know, as after we have worked for a little while, then I move into strengthening of the muscles that are going to really help you hold that posture and keep yourself safe. And then we do, yeah, breath work, self massage, foam rolling on real specific, you know, parts of the body. I also do lots of guided meditation and mindset work, because what I found with, especially with neck and back pain, is there's so much fear built up around it. So anybody who's had chronic pain in a way that it's really affected their life, there's just a lot of fear around it. And there's also kind of like what you mentioned earlier, there's that feeling that this is it, like I have to live with this forever. And it's kind of what's fed to us by doctors and also chiropractors for the most part, is just like, you have a herniated disc, you're going to have to live with this and just kind of figure it out. So I really work with like trying to break that thought pattern and help people understand that no, you can absolutely find relief and prevention, and you just have to believe in yourself and like learn the actual steps that find you relief, and then you're going to be good to go. So yeah, so I work with all of that kind of stuff. And then I also, you know, in the coaching, we do a lot of, what does your day look like? What are the triggers in your day that might be contributing to this? And then we work with all, you know, whatever those might be, whether it's somebody who, you know, is a parent of a young child, and we have to work on how are we getting down to the floor and lifting them properly and putting them in the crib, or nursing without hurting your neck, or you know, people who commute long hours and work in the office all day. You know, I try to make sure that I have a lot of practices that can actually be something that people can do during their workday. So they don't even have to wait until the end of the day. They can be sitting at their desk and doing some of their practices. So that's really key to like help people find a way to make time for this in their day.
Yeah. So I have two big clients right now that I mean, I've had in mind to really introduce you to. One is a truck company. So, you know, truck drivers in the cab all the time, sitting those long hours. And like, I already know, like muscularly, like they're sitting all day, hamstrings short, and they get that low back pain, but also the stress of like being in traffic and you know,
Sure.
you've got people on the road that don't pay attention. And it is a stressful job.
Oh yeah.
And then the other one is call center. So I have a client that they run a call center, and you know, they want to do a wellness program, but at the same time, like their employees aren't really allowed to like get up and move around. They're really
Sure.
kind of tied to their desks. So, you know, what do you kind of have for those people that really like, I can't really get up and walk around, like I'm stuck in a cab of a truck, or I'm really stuck to this desk?
Yeah. Yeah. For those, for the seated, you know, jobs like that, especially in my neck pain program, I have so many things that they can do while seated. I would say probably the majority of things that I teach can be done while seated. Of course, I have other things on the floor and standing up and things like that. But I have so many stretches that they can start opening their chest and then strengthening the upper back to hold that posture. And also breath work is huge, because it's something you can do while driving. You can do that while you're on a call. You can do that while you're typing, and just start to like bring your nervous system down. Yeah, and I have a ton of different stretches that really help loosen things up so that you don't end the day just, you know, with your shoulders up to your ears and a raging headache. So many of those things can be done right from, you know, your desk or from your truck seat.
Yeah. And I know you didn't want to share too many of the stretches with us because, again, if you don't have that foundation posture work,
Yeah.
somebody could really injure themselves. So for the people that like might be joining us today that were like, oh, I was really hoping for some stretches, you know, what would be your best advice for them on like something they could start today, just checking that posture, or like, you know, what should be the number
Yeah.
one focus?
Yeah, I would say checking that posture, you know, setting up your workspace so that things are in on eye level. And especially even when you're at home, if you're, like I said, using your phone, I never use my phone without a little mini tripod. So it's up and I'm not tempted to just, because once you start scrolling, it's just like you forget about yourself, right? And
Mhm.
then like a breath work. I mean, I know it sounds simple, but the breath work is huge because it starts to relax. You can actually relax your tissue. So I always teach people a breath work where you basically lengthen your exhale to be double the length of your inhale. And that's just an awesome way to bring your nervous system down. And yeah, I mean, as far as the stretches go, like I said, when I work with people, I like to start them with the neutral spine and assessing their space and kind of getting the mindset right so that we know that they're not going to just go into it and tweak their neck. But I mentioned this earlier, but I do have a shorter program that's really great for people to kind of get an introduction into what I do. And it's a group coaching program. It's only 2 weeks long. And it's really awesome to give you that foundation of where to begin and really get some good relief. So I just did the program. We just wrapped it up last week. And, you know, everyone's different. So a couple of people didn't have chronic pain. They just wanted to kind of like loosen up their neck and they were good to go after 2 weeks. They didn't need anything else. Then there were others in the program who were like, I really need to work on my posture. I need to get the strengthening. I need to keep going with you. And so they ended up enrolling in my full program. And then they get a huge discount for having done the intro program too. So it's kind of like a risk-free way to do it.
That's awesome. And I know you shared a couple resources. So if you're in the Zoom call, if you go to the chat, Jennifer shared a couple of resources. And if you're on Facebook Live, we're going to put those into the comments as well. So be looking out for those. But can you just share with us real quick the resources that you're giving us?
Yeah, for sure. So I put my free guide in there that you can just sign up for and grab. And that has 10 tips of ways that you can actually soothe your neck just right from the desk. So it gives you some really good ideas as to what you can start with today. And this could be anybody. You don't have to be an office worker. You know, all of us sit during the day. And so these are things that anybody can just do. And it's really going to start helping. And again, the simplest things are often the most effective. So I put that in there. And then I also put I have a Facebook group called Relief from Neck and Back Pain. And so people are welcome to join the group in there. That's where I do, you know, host my workshops and put free trainings and lots of good resources in there.
Well, awesome. And I'm just going to open this up to anybody that's joining us either via the Zoom or on Facebook Live. We are monitoring both screens. If you have any questions for Jennifer today, you can put those in there. We'll also be keeping track of the Facebook Live. This will be up for a while on our timeline. And I'd love to put you in touch in case you do have any questions for our specialist today. So let me see here.
Yeah.
I don't have anything at the moment, but we will add those resources to the Facebook, and any questions you have, certainly. What's the best way they could reach out to you directly?
I can put my email address actually right in the chat, and that'll be perfect. Or like I said, that Facebook group is a perfect way to get in touch with me as well. But I'll just put my email in here too, and you can just send me an email anytime. There you go.
Awesome. Well, we are actually right about at time. So I want to thank you again for joining me. And I definitely look forward to working with you, because I think this two-pronged approach, especially when it comes to corporate wellness and offering a manager's track on the things that we do that really stress out our employees and understanding how this can cause physical pain as well as the mental burnout. And then also bringing you in to work with employees on how they can alleviate the pain they currently have and give them the tools to deal with any chronic issues moving forward, I think is a fantastic thing that's just needed right now, as we're all kind of dealing with back to school stress. We're about to go into the holidays, which always stirs up stress. So I think this was a great time to really introduce you to the community.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Megan. And I definitely look forward to some projects with you in the future.
All right. Well, thank you again. And thank you everyone who attended today. Again, if you need to reach out to us, Jennifer's information is in the chat. We'll also add it to the comment section on Facebook. And then you can reach me directly through Life Force Wellness Facebook page as well. So thanks again, Jen.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. Have a great day.